Hello, my name is Sonali. Welcome back to another episode of Around the World. India and Bhutan share a unique and special relationship which is based on a long history of cultural, economic, and political ties. Despite its small size, Bhutan occupies a strategically important position in South Asia and is a key partner of India in regional cooperation efforts. Bhutan's border dispute with China and its relations with India are often in the headlines. At times, concerns are also raised about the possibility of Bhutan moving away from its traditional ally, that is India. This is also because Bhutan is engaged in talks with China over its territorial disputes. China has always been trying to increase its influence in Bhutan and improve diplomatic relations. However, Bhutan's stance shows that it is with India. India also continues to make every possible effort to strengthen this togetherness. It can also be understood that there is an informal practice in India that the first foreign visit of the Indian Prime Minister, Foreign Minister, Foreign Secretary, Army and raw staff is Bhutan. This also shows how special the relationship between the two countries is. Now the question may come to your mind. Why Bhutan is so special for India? What are the factors that connect the two countries? Are India-Bhutan relations really tension-free? To put it simply, Bhutan is India's closest friend. It stands with India even in difficult times. Characterized by diplomatic acumen and mutual respect, the relationship transcends geographical proximity and encompasses strategic, economic, and cultural dimensions. Its strategic location makes it an important buffer state for India's security interest. That is why India has been assisting Bhutan in areas such as defense, infrastructure, and communication. This has helped in maintaining Bhutan's sovereignty and territorial integrity. If we talk about the beginning of relations between the two countries, then it begins with the Treaty of Sinchula of 1865. These relations were further enhanced by the Treaty of Punakha of 1910. It is considered the foundation of India-Bhutan relations. This treaty was signed with Bhutan by the British rule. Later, after India's independence, India and Bhutan signed the Peace and Friendship Treaty in Darjeeling in August 1949. The treaty provides the basic framework for the conduct of relations between the two countries. After this, when China tried to occupy Tibet in 1950, Bhutan saw China as a potential threat. In such a situation, Bhutan saw India as a security watchdog. This strengthened bilateral relations between India and Bhutan. The friendship treaty between the two countries is seen as Bhutan's foreign policy. According to the friendship treaty, Bhutan was required to involve India in matters of foreign relations. The treaty was amended in 2007. According to the amendment, Bhutan will now seek India's opinion only on matters related to India's interest. Under the revised norms, Bhutan no longer needs India's approval for importing weapons. It is worth noting here that India has played an important role in giving international recognition to Bhutan. Bhutan's international journey began in 1963 when it became a member of the Colombo Plan. Bhutan's membership in the Colombo Plan was sponsored by India. Its membership resulted in Bhutan receiving technical assistance from Japan, Australia, India, Canada, New Zealand, and England. Similarly, in the year 1971, the entry of a small Himalayan country like Bhutan in the United Nations was fully supported by India. Since then, it has started receiving special assistance from the United Nations. In 1972, Bhutan became a member of ESCAP, that is Economic and Social Council for Asia and the Pacific. Thus, the process continued, and in 1985, Bhutan became a member of SAARC, that is South Asian Association for Regional Cooperation. This gave it another platform to expand and conduct its foreign relations. Apart from this, Bhutan was also a very backward country. In such a situation, India helped Bhutan by fully funding its first two 5-year plans. At present, the Government of India is involved in many projects These include hydropower plants, cement plants, roads, and other infrastructure schemes. About 40% of Bhutan's external revenue currently comes from the sale of electricity to India. In this sense, Bhutan has benefited greatly from India's help. Most importantly, Bhutan's share in the total aid given by India to other developing countries in 1996-97 was 52%, which was rupees 181 crore. India and Bhutan have a free trade arrangement which does not even require customs post on the Indian side of the border. Being a landlocked country, India offers it about 13 transit routes. Now back to our original question, what is the importance of Bhutan for India? So, Bhutan has extreme security requirements for India. A stable, independent Bhutan is essential to become an effective buffer state. Although India's initial economic assistance in providing the necessary infrastructure to Bhutan may be said to have been influenced by security concerns, but this has not been the case in later years. Now India follows a policy of mutual benefit from the projects currently being undertaken in Bhutan. This is because the market for these projects will be India, and thus it also ensures the development of the northeast part of India. Bhutan is a small country and its needs are limited. However, these needs are sure to grow over time. India's major concerns with Bhutan at present relate to the disturbed situation in the northeast. It is often reported that militants operating in the northeastern region of India have set up camps in the border areas of Bhutan. India is spending crores of rupees on tackling insurgency in the northeast. In such a situation, it is not possible to deal with the insurgency without the help of Bhutan. Apart from all this, the China factor has been very important in defining the nature of relations between India and Bhutan. In really, it is this that gives Bhutan geostrategic importance in relation to Indian interest. It is interesting to know that initially the British were mainly interested in Bhutan to facilitate a trade route to reach Tibet, that is, their objectives were purely of an economic nature. Later, when China began to claim Bhutan's territory, the clause enabling British India to guide Bhutan's foreign relations was included in the 1910 treaty. After this, independent India also included this clause in the Treaty of 1949. The Chinese occupation of Tibet and the subsequent Chinese action there led to the uprising in Tibet, forcing Bhutan to seriously think about coming out of its separatist policy. This subsequently led to India's close involvement in Bhutan's economic development. In 1958, China not only claimed Indian territory but also showed 200 square miles of Bhutanese territory as part of Tibet in its map. At this crucial moment, Nehru said in Parliament that any attack on Bhutan would be considered as an attack on India. However, India's defeat against China in the 1962 war created Bhutan to doubt India's ability to look after its defense. But trust was restored after India's victory in the Indo-Pakistan War in 1971. In fact, Bhutan's desire to gain recognition in the international arena has a lot to do with China's attitude. Given the current state of Bhutan's fruitful relations with India and its past experience with China, the fear that Bhutan will fall into China's side seems improbable. Bhutan's experience with China has not been at all comfortable, and Bhutan itself follows a restrictive policy with regard to its interaction with China. In this way, it can be said that India-Bhutan relations are a model in international relations today. In the context of the relationship between the two countries, it is said that there is evergreen peace and friendship between the two. Since India's independence, both have been like friends, standing together at all times. In one sentence, Bhutan is multifacetedly important for India. There is a fact that India is a big power and Bhutan is a small landlocked state. Still, the two get along very well. What could be more gratifying than this ideal relationship? Now it is the turn of the Sunday special episode of this program, in which we will talk about other important international news. Sweden's way to join the NATO group seems to be clear, since Turkey and Hungary were so far opposing Sweden's joining the NATO group. However, now a key committee of the Turkish parliament has approved Sweden to join NATO after months of delay. NATO, that is North Atlantic Treaty Organization, is a military alliance established by the 1949 to provide collective security against the Soviet Union. There are currently 31 member countries of NATO. Significantly, membership of the NATO group is open to European states that are in a position to advance the principles of this treaty and contribute to the security of the North Atlantic region. India and Russia have announced a new partnership, further strengthening their friendship. Both countries have signed important agreements for construction of future power generating units of Kudankulam nuclear power plant in Tamil Nadu. India's largest nuclear power plant, Kudankulam, is being built in Tamil Nadu with Russian technical assistance, the construction of which started in the year 2002. Since 2016, the plant has been continuously working on its design capacity of generating 1000 megawatt of electricity. French President Emmanuel Macron will be the chief guest at India's 75th Republic Day celebrations. This will be the sixth time that a French leader will be the chief guest at India's Republic Day parade. Earlier, French Prime Minister Jacques Chirac was the chief guest in the year 1976, who later joined as a French president in the year 1998. Other French leaders honored include Valéry Giscard d'Estaing, Nicolas Sarkozy, and Francis Hollande in 1980, 2008, and 2016 respectively. So that's all for the day. See you in the next episode. But before that, let's note down a question based on today's story. Write a brief comment on India-Bhutan relations.